Hi guys, Blaze here and welcome to a very overdue anime pickups video. It's the 1st of November, so that means it must be time for me to show off the second half of what I picked up in September. Yeah. The reason why it's taken me so long to actually do this pickups video is the fact that everything I have to show you here is a lot of stuff, but I don't really have too much to say about it. Like, it's a lot of OVAs, as you might have seen from the title. But anyway, first thing I've got here is the 1980s version of Astro Boy. I've always wanted to watch an Astro Boy series. It's obviously the original 1960s series is the first ever anime. That I'm not overly keen on wanting to buy the DVD sets that are available for the 60s version because they're only available in English dub, save for a couple of episodes in the special features. And I don't really like American dubs for classic anime, like the really old dubs that were shown on telly at the time. They're very difficult to listen to for me personally. I just really don't enjoy them. So one of the advantages of this set that was put out by Manga Entertainment is that it actually does contain 50 episodes in Japanese. The only episode that isn't in Japanese is the first and second episode, so maybe 49 or something. I can't remember how many episodes this series has, but just show you on the menu here. It's not actually advertised on the packaging that this has Japanese, but it does have the Japanese with the English subtitles. Unfortunately, this series is actually out on Blu-ray in Japan. It has English support, but only for the dub and not the subtitles, which is a real bummer. But anyway, yeah, I like the 80s version. It's much darker than the 60s version, so I'm happy to pick that up. Next, we have the 1973, I believe, Lupin the Third series. This is obviously the original 70s series. I think he has a green jacket in this one, if I'm correct. I hope, maybe, might be wrong. But yeah, the first ever series of Lupin. Long overdue in picking this up. I wanted to pick this up when it came out, and yeah, it's like 2 years since then. But I have finally picked it up. Really looking forward to watching this series. It's only 23 episodes. It's by far the shortest of the Lupin series by a considerable margin. But it's obviously the first, and Lupin is a great franchise. It's one that I've enjoyed a little bit of it that I have seen. So I'm very happy to finally add this to the collection. I hope to watch this relatively soon. That confirms the green jacket. But yeah, this is subtitled only, obviously no dubs. It's got some great special features. There's some commentary tracks done by Reed Nilsson, I think he's called, who runs the Lupin the Third website, as well as Mike O'Toole, or Mike Toole, I always put O in it, I don't think there is an O, but Mike Toole from Anime News Network, who's a giant anime nerd. Most of you might have seen at anime conventions in America, should you have ever been to any conventions that he appeared in. But yeah, Lupin the Third, very happy to own that on DVD. Next up, we've got the last Tezuka movie that he worked on, I think. He died before this movie was ever finished. I think they were preparing it back in the 80s, and then he died, and it kind of disappeared. But then they resurrected it, finished it. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm interested in it. It has mixed reviews, but I am certainly interested in it as well. It's very reminiscent of the Astro Boy plotline, so I don't know what that is really, but yeah, Metropolis, whatever. And another Tezuka classic series. This is Jungle Emperor Leo. This is the 80s movie. I think it's from the 80s. There's a 60s series, TV series based on this franchise, as well as an 80s TV series. But this is just the movie that Media Blast has put out. It's dubbed. And I'm pretty sure it has Japanese on it as well. I hope it does. But yeah, I haven't looked too much into the Jungle Emperor Leo franchise or Kimber the White Lion, but I'm looking forward to watching it as always. Next, rushing through these honestly, because I don't have too much to say about each of them, but this is Ghazi's Wing. This is a first of many classic Central Park Media like cheapo releases. This is a fantasy 2-episode OVA. Not well revered, but honestly, pretty much the rest of what I'm going to show you in this video now, I picked up dirt cheap. You're talking like $2 or less. But yeah, Ghazi's Wing, I'm sure it would make good for late night viewing one night. Next we have Psychic Force, which was actually put out by Image Entertainment, I believe they're called. They recently put out, well, not recently, but relatively recently, they put out the Cowboy Bebop movie on Blu-ray. about 10 years ago, they put out a bunch of like OVAs and dubbed them and everything. This is one of them. The Psychic Force is based on the fighting game that came out on the PS1 and the Dreamcast, I believe. I had the PS1 version. It was pretty cool. You like flew around fighting each other. It was very unconventional at the time, but it was pretty good. Next up, we got a discotheque movie. This is Lock the Superman. I think this is the first time this has ever been released on DVD. Pretty sure it is. But yeah, I actually picked this up like a couple of months ago, but forgot to show it. So I figured, given the theme of this pickups video, I'd just shove it in here. But yeah, big 2-hour classic sci-fi movie from the 80s. Pretty well revered, I believe. From I knew of it before Discotheque even picked it up. So I think it's one of the classics, shall I say? Not super classic, but yeah, not the Superman. Next, we got Blame. Version 0.11 salvage disc by something. Yeah, this is that weird 37-minute OVA that Media Blasters put out. I don't know too much about it, other than it's super sci-fi and super strange. As you can see from the DVD menu, like none of it is in English. It's all in like some sort of hieroglyphic alien language. So yeah, I am very intrigued actually by this. More so now, having seen the menu. Even that was enough to almost sell me on wanting to watch it probably later tonight. Okay, here we have Dark Cat. I actually have already seen this. I convinced friends Gothica and Rock Hitachi to watch this with me one night. And it is one of the worst OVAs you'll probably ever see. I mean, you can buy this brand new still, and it came out like 10 years ago because it sold so poorly. It's got like phallus, I think that's the right term, like phallus like shaped monsters and stuff, like, and infections going on. The two main characters are very strange. It's supposed to be horror. The dub is horrific. Like it's very poorly done. It's borderline so bad it's good. But in the end, honestly, it's just really bad. But I don't know. It's for me personally, it is pretty much so bad it's good, because it is just unbelievably woeful. Okay, take a big breath. Next up, we got The Dark Myth. I don't know too much about this horror-related movie. I believe possibly a shorter movie, but I do believe it's a movie. I don't know who made it. I really haven't. These sort of releases, when they're only a couple of dollars, sometimes I just go, let's just go and get a bunch of these. They'll make great things to watch late at night. Some dumb shit, honestly, to watch late at night. That's why I like owning and buying these, because they're cheap and they're good for that. And The Dark Myth looks pretty good for that. So yeah, that's that. Next up, we've got The Shinesman. I was actually disappointed with this. I've already seen it, and the reviews I read for this had it. Unfortunately, the review I read was very old, like back in 1997 or something, back when this first came out, and they absolutely loved it. They said the dub was great. The dub isn't that great, but they really liked the comedy. I thought the comedy was a bit flat, but I don't know too much about Sentai shows, and this is a parody of such. It was good, but I haven't seen too many Sentai shows, so maybe some of the jokes missed me. Next we have Silent Service, another military OVA that I'm pretty sure it's movie. Okay, it's a movie OVA that OVA whatever blah blah blah. I'm just gonna carry on going because there's so much stuff here. Silent Service movie done by Central Park Media. They actually license a bunch of like these military based anime. This is just another long line. I don't know if it has anything to do with the video game from the Nintendo. I don't know if any of you guys remember that on the NES, but it does seem to be possibly about that. Anyway, Gestalt. It just I don't know how to pronounce it, but this looks like another in a long line of 90s fantasy OVAs. There were many fantasy-based OVAs in the 90s, and yeah, this just seems like another in a long line of those. Yeah, I don't really know too much else about it. I'm sure it'll be fun, I guess. Who knows? Gestalt. It cost like £2, guys. It was totally worth it for the entertainment I'll get from it eventually. Okay, next up we've got Alien 9, which is from the creators of Excel Saga. I didn't really like Excel Saga very much. It grated on me, but then I marathoned, or attempted to marathon the show. That's probably not the best way to watch it. But I've heard that this is actually reasonably good. Continuing on from, like, you get some more random, crazy nonsense going on from what I believe. And it's almost like the Madoka Magica formula. We got cute girls in quite horrific situations. I don't know if it goes that way or not. Part of me thinks it does, but I can't remember if that's the case or not. So yeah, I don't know too much about it honestly, but Alien 9, it's supposed to be quite good, so I'm happy to get it. Next, we have My. This is an ecchi sex comedy, basically. I watched episode 1 and it was absolutely bizarre, truly bizarre, and I haven't gone back to it yet, but it's certainly is good for late night viewing. That I can guarantee. This is very ecchi, borderline hentai, but really it's not, but it's pretty close. But some of the animation and stuff, like you can see just there with that crazy face. Like there was some really weird stuff going on in that first episode. It's a very, very strange thing, but I actually do think it makes good for late night viewing. It's just one of those absolutely weird things that anime has, but you don't always go out and watch. Next we have Submarine 707R. This is the special edition. This is so easy to buy, the special edition. I don't know, this must have sold poorly, but just another one of those military type OVAs movie, possibly a movie. I honestly don't know. And there was a part of me that thought this was part of the Matsumoto universe of creations, but that's actually not the case. I did know that before buying it, but originally when I looked into it, I thought it was, before finding out it wasn't. I love the DVD menu on this. This is one of the best DVD menus I've ever seen. It is so cool. Like when you see this in real life, it looks beautiful, and it almost makes you wish that this was out on Blu-ray. Because let's hope the anime is better than the DVD menu. But hey, that is a pretty nice DVD menu. It's just how much I don't really know what to say about this stuff. That's why it took me so long to do this video. Okay, the Third Reich. This is 6 episodes at 5 minutes each, so it's a 30-minute run time for the actual feature. It's CG and it's absolutely totally bizarre. I've actually watched this. This I believe was my 200th anime I'd ever seen, or 300th. I watched this with Gothliquin one night and finally bought it on DVD. I was amazed it was available on DVD. So yeah, this thing is dubbed, and this is definitely from the era of when the anime boom was very much at the height of, anime was in the height of its popularity in America, and the companies were just licensing everything left, right and centre, because this is just the pinnacle of that. The fact this would even get dubbed is madness. 3D, crazy time travel, Nazi, I believe it's to do with the Nazis, set in World War II, but lots of space. I honestly can't quite remember. It was a bit forgettable in some senses, but totally unforgettable in others. There's some crazy characters in this. Honestly, I wouldn't go out and pay for this necessarily, although it only cost me 75 cents, so if you're a collector, maybe go for it. But it's got some extras, so maybe go for it. But honestly, I reckon it's something that anyone should watch on YouTube, because it's very interesting. Okay, so next we have Birth, A War of Two Worlds. This is one of those releases that I have wanted to actually pick up for a very, very long time. I believe Birth is a pretty freaking cool movie. It was one of the first movies ever to go out on straight to video in Japan. It's one of the, I think it's one of the first 2 or 3. Definitely wasn't the first one. That belongs to Dallas, but it was either the second or third straight to home video anime release, and it's got some great pedigree. There's some absolutely fantastic art in it, and you see the motion in that, just a little clip going on in the background. It looks really good, this movie, in my opinion. The soundtrack is done by Joe Hisashi. Please hope that was correct. I always forget sometimes, but yeah, the guy that does this Studio Ghibli's most famous soundtracks. He does the soundtrack to this. It's a very sci-fi soundtrack. It's not something you might normally associate with him, but it's a fantastic soundtrack. The main theme is really awesome. And some really great art. I mean, the story is not the greatest, but there's some fantastic artwork in here. It kind of reminds me of Dragon Quest sort of artwork. It's very 80s fantasy and stuff. The little yellow guy reminds me of Slimes from Dragon Quest to some extent. But this, honestly, I really do like this movie a lot, and I think it's definitely worth seeing, if only for the pedigree of what it is, rather than the actual story, because the story's, it's okay. I think it's good actually, but it's not the most amazing thing you'll ever see. But I think the animation on here is outstanding, especially for the time, and the way and the format this was released as. So yeah, I think this is definitely worth picking up. I mean, it's done by ADB, so I'll have a dub. So that's my pickups video for the end of September. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon, hopefully, for a lot more pickups videos, because I need to catch up on 2 parts for October. I might condense October into 1 part, so I didn't really get a lot. But yeah, I'll see you then.